Welcome everyone to the new edition of the review from our last Inside Iron Studios. The Inside Iron Studios that we presented in September, and we're going to be talking a lot of statues, announcements and things that we did in that edition of this show. And to join me in here, I do have the presence of one of the most famous and a great influencer that you guys might know already. Jam Mint, thank you so much for joining us, man. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you joining us again. And we're going to be talking a lot, man.
It's an honor to be here. I'm looking forward to the statues because a lot of these licenses are some of my favorites. Not to spoil, but we got some Ninja Turtle stuff, some He-Man stuff, some comic book stuff. So I'm excited to go into it.
Definitely, it would be awesome. I think you guys might have seen, but if not, go check in our YouTube channel. We do have the show in there, the full show if you want to see everything. But if you want to see some statues, just some clips, some small clips from the show, you can check on our website, on our YouTube channel as well. So if you missed something, you can check on there. But to begin with, let's talk about some of the announcements that we did in that edition. In there, we talked about our first anniversary from our Jurassic Park Burger restaurant. I don't know if you saw in there, Jam, if you saw something from our Jurassic Park Burger restaurant, but it is a really nice place. It's a nice restaurant where you get to have the same experience from the parks, you know, like the Universal parks that we all know, you know, like we all know all of the parks, all of the dinosaurs. We do have some life-size replicas of the dinosaurs, so it's really a nice experience. Have you seen something of that, Jem?
Yeah, I saw the photos. I saw the life-size dinosaurs. I need a Jurassic burger in my life, so if I ever make it out there, I definitely have to try one.
Definitely, man. You need to come to Brazil to know Jurassic Park Burger Restaurant. It's really a nice place, you know, like we have a lot of families to go in there, a lot of children, you know, like me as an adult, I really feel like a child in there, you know, like tasting the burgers and seeing dinosaurs and all of that. We do have pizza in there as well, you know, like ice creams and all of that stuff. And we have some surprises, but we did celebrate this first year. So it was really an awesome, you know, like event for all of the fans and for all of the customers and everyone in there. So you need to come, man.
They might see me there one day, and congratulations on the 1-year anniversary.
Definitely, man. Thank you so much. Also, we have announced, you know, like, I know it's been a while right now, but we announced our presence at the D23 Expo, which is the Disney event for the fans. And in there, we had our own booth. We had some first scene statues, announcements. And one thing that was really nice, I don't know if you saw something from of that event, Jam, but all of the fans, they were crazy, you know, like about the statues, and we did distribute some exclusive posters. We distributed like one a day, and for all of the fans that were in there for the 3 days, they would complete a full image to celebrate the Spider-Man birthday, the 60th anniversary. So it was really nice, you know.
You know what caught my eye was the quarter scale Gladiator Hulk, because you guys don't do quarter scale and 1/3 that often, but when you do it, you guys go all out. So that caught my eye right away.
That was really awesome, right? I was amazed, you know, like you need to see the size and how heavy that statue is, because it's full of details, the texture of the skin, all of the painting and all of that stuff. And it was really awesome, you know, like the fans were crazy about that.
And you also had the life-size Thanos there as well, like at San Diego Comic-Con. That thing is crazy.
Yeah, that's the one. The very same one that we brought to San Diego, we had in D23, and it was a success. You know, like everyone wanted to take a picture with Thanos, and it was really, really impressive. And we were really well positioned in there, because we were in the middle of Lucasfilm with all of the Star Wars and everything. We were right beside Marvel and Disney, so we're in a really good spot. So all of the public, they wanted to, even with all of this entertainment all around, they wanted to have a picture with Thanos. They wanted to see Hulk. And some of the products that were in there, we're going to be talking about them in this review that we presented on the last Inside Iron Studios. And we have some surprises. So all of you guys watching right now, stay tuned, because for the maybe for this month, maybe for the next one, but we have some surprises of items that we presented in that event as well.
Right, because when you guys showcased those pieces in San Diego and at D23, they weren't available for pre-order yet, but now the pre-orders are opening.
Yeah, we have some of these already in pre-order, and do not forget, guys, some of these items that we presented in Inside Iron Studios, they're going to be open for pre-order until this Friday. So do not forget, guys, if you just let for the last minutes, if you wanted to wait for a little bit, there's not much time in there. So if you guys want to take one of those, that's your chance. Go to our website and or go to your favorite retailer. And if they don't have our products, ask them to get in touch with us, because these will be awesome. Yeah.
You'd be happy to supply them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're going to be really happy. And of course, because we're talking about Lucasfilm and all of that from D23, I cannot let this behind, and I need to mention that we do have now a global contract selling all of the Star Wars products worldwide. So if you want to get one of those statues directly from us, if you want to deal with us, you can go to our website, the .com, ironstudios.com. If you're in Europe, you can go to ironstudios.eu. And of course, if you're in Latin America or maybe anywhere else in the world, you can go to ironstudios.com and get those products from us, as well as, like, as I mentioned, all of the retailers. So go to your favorite retailer right now and ask for the Iron Studios products in there, because, yeah, we have a lot of Star Wars items. They are now available worldwide, so that's a great news, like, we are really happy with that. Yeah, thanks a lot,
That's
man.
Awesome.
We're really happy with that, yeah. Because it's, like, with great powers comes great responsibilities. So we're really taking really good care of that right now. Yeah. Yeah, so without further ado, maybe we can begin talking about the products, right? What do you think? Okay,
yeah, let's
man.
do it.
That's great. So let's begin talking about one of the, like, our newest line of products. I don't know if all of you guys saw that, but we released a new line of products. You probably are acquainted with our Minico or 110, which is our art scale format. The bigger scales, the legacy replicas, the prime scale. But now we do have a smaller scale, because for all of the enthusiasts, maybe those not hard collectors, but those guys who want to have, like, an item from their favorite franchises, their favorite heroes on their offices, in their homes, they don't have too much space, they don't want to invest that much money, they can have their own collection right now, which is the Icons line. So we began, like, with a few items from one of the most cherished franchises that we really appreciate here in Iron Studios, which is Jurassic Park.
I love Jurassic Park.
Yeah, man.
Huge
really.
fan. I was a kid when it came out in the movie theaters. I saw it multiple times, and this is from the first movie. These pieces, they look amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. That's from the first movie. I think it impacted all of us, right? We talked about this last time, and I remember seeing all of those dinosaurs in in a time that we didn't have, like, that many CGI, many, like, technology. And then you have those animatronics, like, moving, and it was real. And I remember, like, being scared of the Dilophosaurus, all of that stuff. So
that was the scariest scene. Yeah, and that CGI and those animatronics, that still holds up to this day. It still looks great on screen.
Yeah, I mean, even watching to this day, we're still impressed, like, by all of that. And growing up with all of this, like, we really cherish that franchise a lot. So we did release 3 items from this Icons line to celebrate all of this feeling, and because we do have, like, a lot of, dinosaurs, and we work with a lot of these statues, we released the Dilophosaurus, and we released 2 versions of the Velociraptors that we are calling, of course, Velociraptor A and B, because they don't have a name. But they have 2 different poses. So we have, like, this one in the screen, which is one of the Velociraptors. And we have another version of him as well. But one thing that's really nice about this line of products, this Icons line, is that even though they are really small, and I mean, they are sometimes smaller than the Minicos, They do have a lot of details, just like they have an approach,
Yeah.
just like our art scale, our legacy replicas, because we put a lot of work in the sculpting, we put a lot of work in the painting as well. So even though they are smaller, they are not stylized like the Minico. They are really more
Yep, I see that.
realistic, right? Yeah, for example,
No,
you
they
can see
look
the
hybrid.
T-Rex.
It looks beautiful. I was gonna say, even the Velociraptors. I mean, they're very small, but they look like they could be a quarter scale piece or even a 1/10 art scale. The paint applications are crazy, and you can see the intricacies in the sculpt. It looks like it was pulled right out of the movie.
Definitely, yeah. The texture of the skin and all of
Right.
the teeth and the like the claws, and it's a really nice product
Yeah.
for all of the enthusiasts and everything. So it's
Yeah.
really a nice range of products. We do have these. So for all of you guys, for all of you fans of Jurassic Park out there, we do have these these three items available until this Friday. So if you want to, like put a place for the pre-order, put an order for the pre-orders, and we have already released the T-Rex, I think in August. The T-Rex, another Velociraptor, and we released Blue as well. So in another version. So we are
Awesome.
increasing this line of products. It's not attached to any particular scale. So we're not talking about like 120 or anything like that. It
Right.
has just this fixed size. In average, they have pretty much the same size, except for example the T-Rex that you can see. That's even though it's a smaller one. It's
They
really
do
big.
kind of look like they're in scale with each other, though, right?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Yeah,
They
that's
are
cool.
in
That's
scale
all
with
that
each
matters.
other. Yeah, but
Right.
they are smaller, so they are not attached to any particular scale. And one thing that's really nice about the Icons line also is because of all of these, we will be releasing for the future other franchises in this line. So maybe superheroes, maybe movies, and all of this. So we have some products in development, and all of the fans and everyone, like this point of entry to the newer collectors out there. This will be, I think, a safe shot.
Well, one thing about Iron Studios, you guys are going to get that license. You guys have so many different lines, so I'm excited to see what you guys come up with.
Awesome, man. That's really great. So, with that in mind, let's talk about the next product, right? Let's see, Vera, if we can have another product. Yeah, so here's the one. Do you know this one, Jam?
Of course, man. Wizard of Oz,
Yeah.
Tin Man, a classic. You know what I like about this line? It kind of gives statue collectors like myself, who might not necessarily collect this, but buy it for our parents or maybe our kids or relatives, and kind of get them into the hobby, kind of
Yeah.
with something that they grew up with or resonate with. So I think that's very cool to tap into that.
Definitely, yeah. One thing that's really nice about, like releasing the Wizard of Oz, and we're going to be releasing the other characters as well. We did release the Tin Man in this last edition of the Inside Iron Studios. And it was released on two versions because, like as we discussed in San Diego, I think we remember, we are always thinking about, like variety and giving options to the collectors. So we have this in a more affordable option, which is the regular version, which of course has a Tin Man with his heart-shaped clock in his chest, the X in his hand, and all of that stuff. He's over the yellow brick road as well. But for the deluxe version, for all of the hard collectors, the ones that want to have a diorama to complete the full scene, we have some elements in the background from Emerald City. We have some grass, some moss in there. And for the other characters, we have some surprises. I think you guys saw from San Diego. We have already announced all of these. But of course, I'm not going to spoil that much because you're going to see these on the future editions of the Iron Studios, Inside Iron Studios. But for this one, it's really nice, like the approach, because we do have a lot of work in the painting and the sculpting as well.
Yeah.
But one thing that I really like about this one is how we portrayed the character, because the posing, it shows him like he was dancing, like just like in the movies, the classic scene that we all remember from our childhood and all of that.
No pun intended, but I mean, he doesn't look stiff. He looks lifelike, like how you remember him from the movie. And the detail, I mean, look
Exactly.
at even the seams of his suit with the buttons and everything, and the paint, the differences in the paint there. And go into the base, you have the soil and like the vines going through. There's a lot of detail packed into these arts. This is the 1/10 art scale, correct?
Yeah, it is a 1/10 art
Yeah, a lot
scale,
of
and
detail.
yeah, a lot of detail. And when you get to see all of the four right beside, like one beside the other, you complete the full scene. So it's something really nice. And especially thinking about what you're talking about, or what you're saying right now, one thing that it's really appealing, like at least to me, is how we painted everything. Because the Tin
Yeah.
Man has only one color, like the silver, the iron color and all of that, the
Right.
metal color. But we have put some, like other colors here and there. So the balance between the colors makes this one, like a really eye-catching statue in itself.
For
Like
sure.
you have the shiny metal
Yep.
painting for all of the body, but you have the red from the clock. You have some flowers in the base, the green in the back, and the yellow brick road, of course. So
It pops
it's
for sure.
really, yeah, it's really a nice one. And one thing that I completely agree with you. Like we can have one of these statues to our father, to our parents, and all of that. To our, like my
Right.
father used to like a lot of this movie.
Yep. For
But
sure. Grandparents even.
I tell this story a lot to my kids, like, so I tell this story every night, so they do know the characters. And my daughter, she was crazy when she saw this, like she was, I need to have one of these. And I was okay. There
No,
goes my money.
as a parent, it's your duty to show your children these classics, and they fall in love
Exactly.
with them. My kids like this, and they love the Wiz, the Michael Jackson version. So that might be a good idea
Awesome,
for a
man.
statue line.
Yeah. Hey guys, are you listening? That's a great idea. So yeah, but I mean, there goes our money, right? So when our
Yeah.
kids ask for something like this, can you say no? I can't.
Of course. And it's one of those things we buy for ourselves all the time as collectors. It's nice when you can buy something that you like for a family
For
member or
yeah,
something like
for a
that.
children or for a parent, a
Yeah.
grandparent. Yeah, definitely, man.
Right.
Yeah, so that's Tin Man in both regular and deluxe version. If you guys want to place your order, go to our website, ironstudios.com. Next, what do we have, Vera, for us to talk about? Hey, that's the one. That's the final piece, Jam. I don't know if you heard about it, but
I
all of the
heard. I
fans,
heard.
like, yeah, we had a lot of fans, man, asking for this statue because we released the diorama, like the full diorama from the Battle of Moria for the Lord of the Rings. We have the orcs, we do have the Legolas, Gimli, Boromir. We do have a lot of statues from this battle, and
Mhm.
it was missing this final piece, and we had a lot of requests. We did present Gandalf in another edition of our Inside Iron Studios, but since then we just presented it. But since then we had put some extra work, like in the sculpting, in the painting, and all around. And I think
Mhm.
we have achieved a really nice result in here with the likeness of the actor. And
Oh
of
yeah, for
course,
sure.
yeah, and we do have, of course, as in the last time, we do have him holding Glamdring in one hand, like the sword, and we have him holding his, like peculiar and characteristic staff. So it completes now, and you can see a lot of movements
Oh yeah.
in his robes and all of that, right?
In the color, you can see where it goes from that blackish to like that weathered look as he gets closer to the rocky base there. And like you said, when you're sculpting fabric, you have a real opportunity to showcase movement in the piece. And you guys nailed that. You can see the movement in his robe at the texturing, the paint applications, and completing the diorama scene, like you said. So what's not to love?
Yeah, it's really an awesome opportunity, like not only for those expecting, but we still have some items available as well from these dioramas. So, like if you're late to the party, maybe you can get some of those orcs that we do have. We do have some other characters. So it's a really nice opportunity, like for all of the Lord of the Rings fans, including all of the hype that's going on lately, right? I know that
Oh yeah.
the series has been receiving a lot of reviews, some good ones, some not that good, but maybe for all of the fans, that's a nice opportunity in here, like to have the original and the you know like the real Lord of the Rings products
The hardcore
and
fans.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the
No, no.
hardcore fans that like being talking a lot about the series, this is the
Yeah, yeah.
real deal.
That's cool, man. Perfect timing to
Yeah.
release.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And one thing that's really nice is, like, I won't spoil it, guys. We're going to be talking about this in the, like, maybe you guys will get the hint, will get an Easter egg all around this. I won't be talking about that much on Lord of the Rings, but guys, stay tuned because I think you're going to like what we have for all of you fans out there.
Let's not get Alexander in any trouble here, spoiling and
Yeah,
teasing
yeah. I
something he
mean,
shouldn't.
let's just pretend I'm not spoiling, right? No, I'm just kidding. So Vera, what else do we have? I think that Jam's going to like this one a lot. We talked about this one in San
Okay.
Diego, but I think you're going to enjoy this
Hey.
one. Yay!
I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I literally play Mortal Kombat every day on this arcade because it lets you play online with other players. Baraka from Mortal Kombat 2, his first appearance in the franchise, and it gives me so much hope that you guys may go pretty deep into this line, that we're getting Baraka. You've already given us so many great Mortal Kombat pieces in this scale. And again, I mean, what more can we say about the 1/10th art scale? The detail is second to none. You nailed the likeness of Baraka because you're going off a video game that's, let's face it, very pixelated now,
Exactly.
as when it came out. So you're taking this pixelated character and you're making him look realistic, and you guys crushed it. I loved it when I saw it at San Diego Comic-Con. Can't wait to add it to the rest of my Mortal Kombat line for sure.
Definitely, yeah. One thing that's really, like nice, it's really eye-catching, how ferocious Baraka is portrayed in here, right? So how like the threatening pose and the attitude. I think that like Mortal Kombat was one of my favorite games back in the days as well, and Mortal Kombat 2
Yeah.
was something, right? Was an event
That's
because
my favorite one.
it introduced so many characters, right? And we were like crazy to see all of those background characters from Mortal Kombat 1 into
Yep.
play that we get to
Reptile.
choose them. Reptile, yeah.
Shang Tsung. Yep.
Yeah,
And what I like about this, you have like this Tarkatan warrior, and then the base almost looks like it's inspired by the armory stage when you have these weapons laying about. So I love adding those nods to the stages as well as having the character there.
yeah. And we like to put this kind of, like this kind of concept into our statues. I think we remember, for example, in Sonya Blade's one, we had an Easter egg with the producers of the games and the tombs. We always
The
like to
tombstones, yes.
use, yeah, we like to use elements from the game to
Sure.
increase all of these scene, to create, even though it is, like one piece, just a single statue, all of these kind of form as a mini diorama in itself. So
Yeah.
it's really nice, like, and in this one, I like very much the painting, like even though the painting of the skin tone and the clothes, but what I do like is the painting of the claws and the tooth, like
Yeah.
that you get to see the bones, like, so it's really full of details, full of, like characteristics. The sculpting is really awesome. The texture of the, like the muscles, and you get to see
Yeah, you can
how the,
see the pecs and the paint applications really shine because it's like a little bit lighter, but as you get into the crevices, it darkens a little bit. Just a good sign of a good paint job.
yeah, that's it. Exactly it. Yeah, and you get to see how many, like how much strength he's putting into this action. So it's really a dynamic statue in itself, and it's, like
For
from
sure.
one of the franchises that I really, really love. So I knew you were going to like this one because
Yeah.
I saw at your background, and I know you're a
Yep.
hardcore fan of, like old video games and all of that stuff. So I knew you were
Yep.
going to like this one.
For sure.
Awesome, man. Yeah.
Great job.
And, like talking about this nostalgic trend, like that's going on, this hype that we're seeing and all of that, I think we can, like talk about something else that I think you're going to appreciate. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're going to enjoy this one.
Yep, there we go. So you picked the right guy for this episode because you're bringing
I
all
knew
my
it.
childhood lines. I mean, from Jurassic Park, Mortal Kombat, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't think we've ever even got an April O'Neil statue. This might be the first one that I'm aware of, and she looks
As far
great.
as I can remember, yeah, that's the first one.
And look, and what's awesome about this line is you're taking this cartoon character and you're making her look realistic and lifelike. Look at the folds on the back of her jacket, and that yellow jumpsuit looks like it makes sense, whereas it kind of seems a little silly in the cartoon, but it works on this piece. And then you got the sewer kind of Easter eggs going on around her. She's got her microphone as she's reporting for the news station. Looks great.
Definitely, yeah. That's it. As far as I remember, it's the first one. I don't even remember her in an action figure, like format or something like that. I don't know, guys. You at the audience right now, if you remember any other April O'Neil comment in here, just put in the comments. We would love to see, like maybe one of you guys, one of the collectors, you are aware about it. But what I really like about this one is that, as we talked about the last releases of these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles statues, is that even though they are not a diorama in itself, they do kind of form a full scene, because I think you remember the Turtles themselves, they have these pretty much the same base. They had like these pipes, the broken bricks in the back, like in the background. They have the sewer and all of that. So April follows the same, like the same concept. I think that maybe Casey Jones also has these bricks and all of this, and Shredder, of course. So this adds to a full collection of the other TMNT statues that we've been releasing. And one thing that I really like about, like you talked about her jumpsuit, it was a little bit cheesy in the comics, because how can you explain a reporter using a yellow jumpsuit, but
what
it
is
works.
that, right?
And yeah, like what's going on in this TV channel. But I think that's really nice, because it has, like this visual appeal to the character, and it shows her, like it's really with the contrast, like with all of these environment, the dark environment from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the dark environment, the dark city. It has a lot of dark tones and all of that. So April comes like this lighter character, like she has this kind of a glow, like So and she was the first friend, like from the Turtles. So
the first human friend, right? And I like how you have
friend.
They have the little turtle comm on her belt, and I get it now. You guys wanted to break up the color a little bit, add some green there, the little turtle comm that she would use to communicate, and then you got the white belt, the white boots, and I saw the weathering and the texturing on the boots, and I liked the video camera, the camcorder on the ground too, giving a little Easter egg. So well done on this April piece. You're definitely going to see Gem Mint Collectibles review some of these turtle pieces. I'm just a sucker for turtles.
I am positive about that, man.
I'm going to use this opportunity to say, if we can get into Slash and Metalhead, those are my favorite characters from that are not the Turtles. So I would love to see those get made. If Iron Studios, if the decision makers are listening, Slash and Metalhead.
They are, man. They are. They are listening to you. And we have some, like other characters in development right now. I think you guys are going to like it. Until the end of the year, maybe we're going to be releasing them. So all of you guys stay tuned, because we do have, like a full collection, because we really love, like TMNT. It's something that we all grew with, like we loved all of the animated series. And one thing, of course, like all of those guys that didn't watch the animated series, at least they played the games, or at least they saw the comics. TMNT
or the new
was
movies.
Or the new movies.
Oh, yeah.
And for the next year, we're going to expect a lot, like from our friends from Paramount and Nickelodeon and all of this. So you guys can expect a lot of, like TM. Have you heard something about it? Because I didn't. I just know they are preparing things,
Yeah.
Yeah, but like we do have some. I know that they are preparing some new video games and all of that stuff. So we are also preparing a lot of surprises for the TMNT fans and all of the nostalgic fans out there. And of course, we talked about Mortal Kombat. We talked about TMNT. And I think you know what's coming next, right?
I know what's coming up next. This was actually the first franchise I ever got into as a kid. These were the first action figures I collected. I was a huge Masters of the Universe fan. Even the live action movie, even though it's kind of cheesy and they kind of messed up a couple of things. Love the live action movie. And yeah, your guys' line is crazy, man. You got Beast Man here in the 1/10 scale. Crazy.
You do remember this one from San Diego?
I do.
We presented
of course,
this one. Yeah, and it was really nice in there. We got a lot of, like positive reviews from the fans. from the public in there because they were really excited to see Masters of the Universe in a collectible format, like in a collectible statue, because you remember back in the days we had like the action figures. They were really nice, of course. We were children
Yeah, we
back
love
there,
them.
and I had like pretty much all of those. But
Me too.
these, yeah, you have like this complexity. You have all of these attitude. The sculpting in here is really well done.
Oh,
Like
great.
we explored a lot. Like the posing for all of this. You get to see in the movement of the whip from Beastman.
Yep.
Like it's really dynamic, and we show his ferocious. We talked about the ferocious attitude from Baraka, but Beastman has this ferocious attitude as well, right? So it's really
Yeah,
it's
for
really
sure.
nice. And just as I think remember Stratos from when we did this review last time, and we
The
had this
flying
base.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Hmm.
landing and all of that stuff. We had this base with the tree, the broken tree, the moss and the grass, and you see the
Yep.
very same kind of base
Yep.
on Beastman. So maybe you can have like this battle between them. Like that would be really awesome to showcase and to display into anyone's collection.
Yeah, for sure. It makes it a companion piece. It'll display so well together. And I think you nailed the ferocious nature. He's lurched over. He's on this hill. He's very ferocious looking. And then you have the textures in the mane. You got the hair sculpted. Even on his trunks, you have the blue type of fur. Again, 1/10 scale, but doesn't spare on the detail. It goes all out, you guys. So
Yeah, it's full
well
of
done.
details. And even though it's a 1/10 scale, one thing that's really nice about these newer statues that we've been developing is how big they get. Like when you add to you add the base to it, you add some elements of the posing. So even though it is a smaller scale than a legacy replica or a prime scale, for example, they
Right.
are really big because of all of these features and the nature of how we've been developing everything and how we've been developing the concepts is really to explore more for the collectors. So, and I think you've noticed, but I need to point this out because the painting for all of these 80s and 90s statues that we've been releasing,
Right.
even though they are like full of color, the painting is a shiny one. They show more saturated colors, so you get to feel this nostalgic sentiment, this feeling, like when you see the painting and all of that stuff.
Yeah, you're bringing an animated cartoon version into
That's
real
it,
life,
exactly.
but it looks and feels the same. It just looks like it's just highly detailed. So that's what I love about it. It stays true to the source material. It just kind of enhances it to make it more modern.
Exactly, that's it. Yeah, and that's like a collection that I'm really fond of. Like I'm really digging into this Masters of the Universe because, as you said, like it's from our childhood memories and all of that. So
Yep.
just as we released Beastman, we had another release, something that we didn't show before, and it is I think you remember Many
I
Faces, right?
So the He-Man and Turtles toys, that's what made me become a collector. When you looked on the back of those boxes and it showed you the other characters in the line, Little Gem was like, I need to have all of those. So you guys get it because you're doing the same thing the action figures did. You're releasing as many of the characters from the series as you can. You got many faces here. I think you used to push down on him or squeeze his legs or something, and it would change his face. Now,
Yeah,
does
you
this
get to spin
change
this small.
faces?
Yeah, you get to spin this small, I don't know, mechanism in at the top of his head, and then you get to
Oh,
see
here
all
he
of
is.
these faces. It has
That's so
interchangeable
cool.
faces. So just like I think I don't know if you remember the toy, but back in the days, like
For sure.
it used to have the same feature where you used to spin this above his head,
Uh-huh.
and you could swap and present the face you wanted. And I really liked the monster one because I was this kind of kid, like I used to
Of
like
course.
having the monsters and this kind of stuff. But of course, for those who like the hero or maybe the robot one, we have the three of them. So that's a really nice feature that we included in this statue. And I think that for all of the hardcore collectors, but for the fans that you used to have the action figure and all of that,
Yep.
I think that's really something that we feel, like in our hearts and in our soul
Oh,
about it.
the nostalgia is so real with this one right here. I mean, everybody
Yeah.
If you're 30 years or older, you had this action figure, or your siblings had it, or something, man. This oh, here goes the switch out with the monster face.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
that's a
man, you
really nice
guys,
one.
big props for even tackling this character. We definitely have never had a statue of this guy before, so
Definitely,
awesome to
yeah.
see it.
Yeah, and with a feature like this, like that's something really
Right.
awesome. We are really excited about it. I don't know if you know, but back in the day here in Brazil, we used to have a small drink or something like this that used to have the shape of this small bottle, had the same, almost the same shape of his head, and we used to
Oh yeah.
play with this, like so. That's a character that was really famous, like with us. So that's something really nice. The nostalgia in here is really present. So
Yeah. It's
that's
yeah, for
something
sure.
really great. So for all of you Motul fans in there, I think you're going to like this one. And don't forget, guys, the pre-order is open only until Friday. So I need to remember you guys about it because I know we mentioned, but we keep forgetting. So I think you're going to like this one. So you have until Friday to get yours. So moving ahead, like we had another, like celebration. We have, I don't know if you're aware about, but Stanley this year would, would celebrate his 100th anniversary.
Mhm.
So we had to release yet another statue. I think you remember we have already, released a minico version. We had an art scale
Yep.
version, 1/10 scale. We have a quarter scale, and we had to release another, because it's our main core, line of products. We had to release another art scale of
Yep.
him to celebrate, this special date and this special year. So we have
No, that makes
Stanley
sense.
Legendary Years.
So I have the previous 1/10 scale from the art scale line, and I pair it
Awesome.
with the X-Men versus Sentinel dioramas. I put him right front and center next to all the X-Men, like his creations, right? And
Really,
the big
man.
Sentinels behind him. So definitely love
Yeah.
that piece. And I like how you have a different type, because the other one, I believe he has one leg up, that he's standing on some crates or something, and there's a
Yeah,
lot of like Easter
exactly.
eggs around him.
And the deluxe
So
version,
this one, different pose.
yeah,
It
you
has a
had like,
different base.
yeah,
Yeah.
Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. You had like
Captain
Iron
America
Man's
shield.
Iron Man's mask and all of that stuff.
So
So
this one, he has what? It's a stack of comics, it looks like, to his side.
yeah, to honor his, like his career as a writer, as a guy who used to write not only comics but books as well. We did,
Right.
like a pile of books, comics, and one thing that's really nice, we have an Easter egg in there because one of the books right at the side you can read like cameo 101. So for all of his cameos in the movies and all of that.
Oh,
So
right, yeah.
yeah, it's really it's a homage, like for such a legend. Who doesn't like Stanley? Like he's
Gotta
really
love Stanley.
gotta love Stanley, man. That's a guy we need to honor because all of his like superheroes, so many fantasy stuff that we brought to her, like to the public, to us geeks
Mhm.
and pop culture fans and all this stuff. And one thing that's really nice about this statue, I think you guys have seen already, but we do have like two versions. We have interchangeable arms. So we have a
Mhm.
version with him pointing, like pointing to the horizon, like with
Mhm.
his vision, like his brilliant vision, his brilliant mind. And we do have another version where he's just waving to the crowd,
Waving.
like his hand. So he's waving to the fans, to us, for all of the eternity. Because like one
Yeah.
guy like this, he will live forever.
Especially if we continue to honor him, and creating statues like this and keeping his legacy alive. So bravo. Happy 100th anniversary of Stan Lee, and to many more, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's really great. And let's talk about, like we mentioned that we were at D23. You guys saw some, like spoilers in there, some announcements, statues that we never released. I think we can begin talking about some of the releases from those statues as well.
Let's take
I
a
think you're
look.
gonna
Let's
like
see.
this one as well, Jam.
Oh yeah.
The Dead
Zombie
Defender,
Strange.
Zombie Strange, Defender Strange, or Dead Strange, from like the Multiverse of Madness movie, the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I think you guys
Yeah,
remember the last scene, which was a really
of
terrific one.
course.
Like where he possesses the body of Defender Strange, and you have like Dad Strange to like fight with
And you have all the arms coming up everywhere. There was actually a great cosplay at New York Comic Con that somebody cosplayed that version of Strange.
really.
So
I
yeah.
didn't see that, man. I missed that one. Oh man, that's really nice. And in this statue we have like the character in both versions, a regular and a deluxe one, and like this
Hmm.
is a 1/10 scale, but it's the one that I was mentioning right now. Like that's the very same case, where in the developments we
Taller.
add like a base, and it's a really taller statue. So for the fans, those guys who like the bigger statues, even though this is a 1/10 scale, it is full of details. At the base, you get to see some demons, like flying.
Yep.
So we have the
It's a
Black Mass.
it's a very dark piece, man. From the
It
base to the
is
zombie nature of him, and to the arms. It's dark. I love it though. I'm into that kind of stuff. So,
definitely.
yeah, I love the base with all the red. Like, what is the red? Is that like the guts of them, or I mean,
Yeah, it's actually some blood and some of the magic
yeah,
in the scene.
dark.
So yeah, it's all of that. So yeah, and we're approaching Halloween. So for all of those
There you
horror
go.
fans, like this is a really nice one. But I
Oh, here's
really
the
like the one.
deluxe.
That's a deluxe. So we have a lot of
Wow.
details, more details, like where all of this black energy, this black magic is forming the
Yep.
cape, like right behind him. And we have
Wow.
more demons floating, like in back
Hmm.
in the statue, in the background. There you go,
That's
some
impressive.
details in there. The
Yeah.
painting is
Wow.
really awesome, right? So even though it is
Hmm.
black, you have the shiny black, you have some grayish black, like some red, like the blood red
And the
painting. So
tendons you can see kind of stretching. Yeah.
and when you blend these colors, like with the shiny painting, it's really gross, right? But
Yeah.
really
No, it's in a
eye-catching
good
with
way.
that, in a good way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's
for
for
sure.
the horror fans and for the fans of the show, of the movie.
Hmm.
This is really eye-catching. Like I'm really impressed by this one. How much detail in the sculpting, how much detail in the painting, and how imposing the figure is, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And just because it's 1/10 scale, that doesn't necessarily mean the statue is small. The
It's
scale may
small.
be small, but the statue can go 13, 15 inches or whatever. I'm not sure the exact measurements, but it looks like it packs a punch, this piece.
Yeah, it's really really big. Like I think I remember, like when we presented what if statues, the Ultron, and I think it was another Doctor Strange, the corrupted. I forgot the name, but it
Hmm.
was the corrupted Doctor Strange. They were
Right, right.
taller. Yeah, but they were really tall, and I think this is pretty much the same height, or maybe a little bit taller. So
Yeah.
it's a
Especially
really,
that deluxe version.
especially the deluxe. So yeah, as you were saying, like even though the scale is smaller one, when you get to see
Mhm.
the statue, like looking closer, you see a lot of details in there as well.
Oh, yeah,
So
for sure.
uh, we know that the quarter scale, the legacy replica statues, they have, of course, a lot of details. You get to see the texture of the skin and all of that. But when you see an art scale like this with so many details, it's really, really eye-catching, and for all of the collectors, it's really something awesome. So that's
Yeah, for sure.
that's one of my
I
favorites from D23.
I can tell you firsthand, I own all of the X-Men 1/10 scale that you guys have released so far, all the Mortal Kombats. That's why I'm hesitant to get into Turtles, He-Man,
Because you're
because I
going to
already
collect
have
them
so
all,
many.
right?
I'll have to get them all. That's the
I
collector's
know it.
bug that I was cursed with.
Yeah, I know, man. But now you're living in a smaller space, in a bigger space, so you have a
That's
bigger
true.
house. You have more space, right?
I'm th- I'm already working it out how we're gonna figure out to get these other lines. So
We're
the
going to
Power Rangers
showcase all of
line. I
those.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we need to see that, man. Once you get all of those statues, you need to show us your collection. You need to, that's something I want to challenge you. Maybe for another edition of the review, or maybe another show, maybe you can do a
Uh-huh.
tour throughout your collection. What do you say?
I would love to. So we're working on getting shelving built. Once the shelving is built, you're gonna be tired of seeing my collection. I'm gonna be showing it off so much. So yeah, for sure, we could do something exclusive for Iron Studios where I just go over the Iron Studios section or what have
Awesome.
you. So we could do that for sure.
Hey guys, if you like this idea, if you want to see Jam's collection, because I know that from the last time you saw, it grew a lot.
Oh, of
So
course,
I think so I think
as they
if you
tend to
guys
do.
yeah, so if you guys want to see that, put in the comments right now, because we want to know if you want to see that one in another edition of the review, or maybe we can do another show, like an exclusive show for that.
I'm down.
So we're almost done, but we need to talk about some other products. So Vera, if you're ready,
Vera,
we
let's see
talked
it.
about her. Can you see that? Oh, that's so. I love this, man. This is really a franchise that's appealing to me. I love Star Wars, and since we talked about the global contracts, and for all of the
Yep.
fans that can now find Star Wars with us anywhere in the world, we announced this one at D23 as well, and I
Yep.
love this scene, Jam. I love
So
this scene.
easily the best scene of the movie from Rogue One. Am I correct?
From Rogue One. Yeah, that's the one.
The last 5 minutes of the movie where like everybody's jaw was on the floor, and I love what you guys did here with the lightsaber. You guys gave it that artistic look, because everybody does Star Wars statues and you have the lightsaber. Sometimes companies make them light up or whatever, but this one is like it's like fanned out a little bit. It's actually in movement, and we're
Exactly.
showing a lot of pieces that could be dioramas if you pair them together, but this one is a diorama already, so
In
amazing.
itself, yeah. It
Yeah.
is a BDS. We call it Battle Diorama Series. So
Got
for
you.
those who didn't know what BDS stands for, it's a Battle Diorama Series. It is a diorama. And we do have, like, the lightsaber, we do have it in both versions. We do have this one with a trail.
Oh, okay.
But we do have also, for those who don't like, like that much, like the trail, they can have the lightsaber standing still, just right
Smart,
beneath.
very smart. Smart
Yeah,
move. Some people
like,
might want that iconic look, and then some might enjoy a different take on it. So yeah, good move
yeah,
there.
we're all about options for all. We want to please the collectors, the fans. So for those who like the trail, like the movement, there you go. This is a really nice, like dynamic.
Yeah.
And what I do like about this one, I like the other one, the other version better, like with the movement, because I like to have represented in a statue some movement, some dynamics.
Me too.
So I'm more this kind of guy, like I like this action. But for those who like the, like standing still scene and all of that, so we have
Museum
this
pose look, or yeah,
museum
yeah.
pose.
But to your point, this diorama is already dynamic. I mean, you have this guy floating in the air. You
In
have the
the air.
movement in the cape, and then Darth Vader's movement. So to me, it really goes with it. But again, I could see somebody wanting that traditional look. So the fact that there's
Definitely.
both options, very smart.
And one thing that I just noticed, I don't know if you noticed or not, but we didn't even say the name of the character. We didn't even say that Darth Vader.
You don't need to.
Because you
He
don't need
needs no
to.
introduction.
He's so important, like he's
Yeah.
marked so many generations, and he was so scary in this movie that we don't even need to, like say his name. He's like Voldemort,
Yeah.
like we don't say his name because everyone knows about him, like.
I mean,
he's
Darth
really-
Vader he's on everybody's top 10 list of all-time villains, right? I mean,
Yeah,
no introduction needed.
Yeah, I would dare to say, like top 5, but maybe
course.
I'm being
I want it
too
to be-
ambitious.
I wanted to play it safe.
Play
It
it
might be
safe,
top
yeah.
5, some people's top 3, so no, for sure.
Yeah, remember the top 3 villains from the movies? They will remember Darth Vader. How come
gotta
they
make that
wouldn't?
list.
Like so.
Right.
So it's really a nice one. This is from, as you said, from Rogue One. It's a like representing the final scene where he's like he lost all of his control, his temper, and he's really exploring the Force to kill. Like we get to see, even though he was like inclined like for to the dark force and all of that on the classic trilogy.
Right.
I don't think that we had seen like him so evil, like using the Force for such a mean reason,
Yeah.
or he hasn't used this like like this way. So in
Yeah.
this one, I remember being really scared about it because I was, man, if someone like him existed, man, we would be all dead, like there wouldn't. I was feeling, like pity for Luke or anyone else, like in there, because how can you fight someone like this,
But what was great was he wasn't in the whole movie, and then at the end you see this dark
Exactly.
corridor, and then you just see the
Exactly.
lightsaber light up, and it's like everybody's
Exactly.
like, "Oh!"
and everyone was crazy because it
Yeah.
was his first appearance after the first trilogy, and we were like, damn,
Yeah.
the guy's back, like the guy's in here. So that was
Yeah.
really, really awesome. So that's really nice. And as you said, it is a diorama in itself. The soldier is barely touching anything in the scene, so the illusion of floating in here is really awesome. Like we get to
Yeah.
see really this action, this movement, and all of these features. So it is really, really a nice one. We're really proud of releasing these, including, like especially because of the moment that we are living right now with the contract and with all of that. And of course, guys, you can expect a lot of more Star Wars items, Mandalorian items, Book of Boba Fett items for the future in art scale, deluxe art scale, BDS art scale, and of course, legacy replicas and who knows, maybe prime scale? I don't know. If you guys
I
want to
love
see
the
some
prime
prime
scale.
scale statues, yeah,
I
know,
want to
man.
see prime scale statues.
Yeah,
But
put
look,
in the comments
if they
right now.
didn't, if they didn't think you were going to do more Star Wars, have they seen the He-Man line? Have they seen the TMNT line, the Lord of the Rings? I'm sure you guys are going to do probably more characters that have never been done before and really help collectors
Definitely.
complete scenes and favorite moments from movies. So awesome
Definitely,
that you
yeah.
guys go that deep in these lines.
That's it, man. That's it. And talking
That's
about
all?
movies, yeah, no, I mean, what else can I say? Like this is really awesome. And
Yeah.
since we're talking about movies, let's talk about a movie that's going to be premiering this month. I think we have a lot of hype going on. Some guys anticipating, some other, like more suspicious about it.
Yeah.
We're going to see this
Black
Black
Adam.
Adam. Black Adam, yeah.
So it's released here in the States. I have not seen the movie yet, but I
Yeah,
heard that fans are loving it, critics aren't liking it, but what really matters? The fans are what matter, right? So I'm
exactly.
excited to see it. I hear there's some nice surprises there. First of all, Hawkman in the movie, you guys have a holy grail statue that you created with your prime scale, with your Hawkman. I
Hawkman, do you
would love
remember
to
that
get
one?
I never owned it. I missed out on that one. That's one of those statues that's on my want list. I need to track down your Hawkman. And I always think of
Yeah,
you guys when
man.
I see Hawkman in the poster for Black Adam because you guys have the ultimate Hawkman statue. But we're here to talk about Black Adam from the movie, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Of course, he was the main character, so we put a lot of work in this statue, and I really dig, like Black Adam, because even though he's kind of an anti-hero, he's like a
Right.
superhero, but he has, like no morals, or maybe he has his own morals to, like avenge and to do what he thinks is right. So I
Right.
really like that one. And you were mentioning Hawkman, like that statue, the old one. It was a huge success, like amongst the fans. We do have some. We've tracked some of those down. Maybe we can put you in contact with some of those collectors. I don't know if they are willing to take part, like of those, but maybe there's an option. But for this one, I think that's a really nice statue, because as with the other art scale, like from of superheroes and all of that, Black Adam in here is kind of like landing, or maybe beginning to fly. I don't know, something like this. The cape's flowing right behind him. We do have some Egyptian elements in the base to represent his origins and all of his story. So it's really nice one. And you mentioned Dwayne Johnson, but I don't know if you saw in our social media, we did, like give one of these statues to him as a gift.
Oh, did
Saw
you? I
that?
didn't see that. No, I
Yeah.
didn't.
Some
That's
of our
awesome.
friends, some of our friends here from Brazil, they are called Jovem Nerd, Young Nerd. They have a podcast. They are really huge, like in here. They are really famous, and they went there to interview the crew, like the actors and all of the
Cool.
guys from the movies. And when they were interviewing Dwayne Johnson, they gave us his statue. He was really impressed by the statue.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't like that? And yeah, I think that you did a great job with the movement on this piece. I love how the cape is flowing, and you mentioned him either landing or taking off. It's always important to me that you're showcasing these superheroes or anti-heroes' abilities. Like, what makes him super? Obviously, he's got the power of flight, amongst other things. So to be able to capture that is always important for me as a collector.
Definitely. Yeah, one thing that I really like, I really enjoy about anti-heroes is the nature of these, like of these characters, because superheroes can sometimes be, like cheesy, or maybe
Yeah.
these too good to be true, like
Boy
this.
Scouts. Yeah.
Yeah, Boy Scout and all of that. And the anti-hero has all of these superpowers. They fly, they have, like supervisions, they have like all of these
The
super
lightning and
strength and all of that stuff, but they have this double moral, or they have this
right.
conflict, like the
They have their own code of ethics that they live
they're-
by that's just for them, so
and it makes a complex personality. And I
right.
really like the approach of all of the anti-heroes. For example, I like a lot of about like Black Adam, but the other anti-heroes, one that I really enjoy is John Constantine, for example, from
Oh,
the
yeah, for
Vertigo
sure.
series. And we do have a statue of him. I do have this statue because the guy is awesome. So I really like these kind of anti-heroes because of all of this complexity and how real they look. Like we have this
Mhm.
dual nature. We as humans, like we're
Sure.
not good all of the time. We have anger. We have rage sometimes. So
Yep.
that's really nice. I really like this one.
Yeah, that's why they're relatable because as humans, we're flawed. We're not perfect. And somebody like a Superman might be a little too perfect, whereas someone like Black Adam might be a little bit more relatable.
Definitely, yeah, that's it. And like I'm really liking how we are creating some hooks to the next statues. So since we were talking about dual nature, good and evil living inside us, we have a last statue to talk about. I think this is a really nice one. It's from one of our own line of products. It's for the Unleashed line of products, and I think you like this one as well, right?
I do. I did see this one because when you were explaining to me, I was like, did I see the Batman? I saw the Thor from this line, which is huge and massive, and so is Batman here. Bruce Wayne. I'm seeing a Mr. Freeze Easter egg on the base. Now the cape, is that
Exactly.
is that cape sculpted or is that fabric?
It is sculpted. It looks like fabric, but it is sculpted, and it's
Wow.
a
I
really
thought it was
nice.
fabric.
Yeah,
Wow.
and you get to see that like from the movement, how it's standing still. It is sculpted and everything, but it has the
Wow.
very same texture of fabric and everything. We have the like the metal elements reminding of the Bat Cave at the
Yep.
base
And
as
the
well,
rock
and the rocks.
formations.
That's it. Exactly, man. So we have
Dang.
this, like this superhero that has this dual personality. He has this fight inside him between his thirst for revenge and all of his morals and ethics, like to, fight crime and all of these villains and
Right.
everything. And you have, as you said, Mr. Freeze, like it is an Easter egg because it's only his helmet in there. So it's for the
Mhm.
hardcore fans, those guys who know, like all of the villains, because it is not this, because we always think about the villains. We think about Joker, we think about
Mhm.
Harlequin, we think about Two-Face, like all of these guys. And
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze, even though it is a famous villain, it's not that much explored, right?
Yeah, he especially the animated series really shined a different light on Mr. Freeze, and he was more of
Exactly.
a sympathetic villain, almost like
That's
an
it.
anti-hero. He really just wants to fight for, to cure his wife's disease and bring her back.
That's it.
So Mr. Freeze was a good choice for that. I like his character. I mean, Batman's got arguably the best rogues gallery in comic books, so you have a lot to pick from. And I like to highlight different ones. You don't always want to see Joker or the same villain, so to pick Mr. Freeze is a great choice. Batman looks huge. He looks like the Arkham games version almost because I feel like that's what you're doing with this Legends line. You're really
That's it.
bulking these characters out, making them imposing and impressive. And yeah, I think you guys killed this one. Is this also 1/10 scale? It's hard
It
to even
is.
tell.
It doesn't look so, right? But it is a one-tenth scale. Yeah, it looks like almost a legacy replica, a quarter scale, but it is an art scale, a one-tenth scale. And that's exactly the approach that we take developing all of the Unleashed series, because it's to
Hmm.
blend these comics to these games and this
Hmm.
look to all of our statues. So as you brilliantly mentioned, we had like Thor. We already released Thor from the Unleashed
He looks great.
series. We do have the Superman as well for the DC franchise. So now we're releasing Batman. And one thing that I really like about this one is, you know, like the blend of the painting as well. You know, like for the armor, you have this shiny black and all of these
Yep.
almost gray, you know, like reminding of the different and many colors that Batman had throughout all of his history. But we also have the dark black from the cape that reminds of the fabric. And we have all of this gray at the base, the metal, the rocks and everything. So this is really a nice add to all of, you know, like not only the DC fans, the Batman fans, but for those who might enjoy our Unleashed series, this is yet another statue for this series. We are expecting to release more, so we have a lot of concepts blending this. And you have this classic approach, you know, like of the heroes, the superheroes, the comic book feels, the comic book visuals, the game visuals. As you said, Archon was a really great game, right? And I really enjoyed playing that one. So we have this approach, and probably for the other heroes, we're going to follow the same aesthetics and the visuals.
As always, I'm excited to see what you guys do next.
Awesome, man. That's really awesome. So that was pretty much it. So we talked about a lot of statues. We talked about the announcements, the things. Do not forget, guys, one thing that I didn't mention, and I saved this for the ending, is that this Friday we have not only the pre-orders closing, but also the newest edition of the Inside Iron Studios. We're going to be doing a Halloween edition. I think you guys are going to like it. We have not only the announcements of the products we're going to be releasing this month, but also some entertainment, some tips for the fans, you know, like tips for the collectors, how to handle their statues, how to clean their statues, how to properly assemble some statues. So from now on, for all of the editions of the Inside Iron Studios, we're including a lot of collector content material. So for all of you guys in there, stay tuned for Friday. Thank you so very much, Jam. It was, as always, man, a pleasure to have you here to review all of these statues. I really appreciate your time and everything. Thank you so much.
I had a great time. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, it was really a pleasure. It was an honor. And we are really excited to have you again next month, maybe to talk about the Halloween edition of the Iron Studio Showcase. All of you guys in there, put in the comments which statue did you like the most? Which statue would you like to see Iron Studios developing? And hope to see you all in the Inside Iron Studios this Friday and in the next edition of the review. Oh, and there's what I've been saving for last. A spoiler.
What are we?
For
You're getting
all
a
of you
tease
guys.
of something?
It's just a tease. For those who understand, you're going to understand. For those who not, you get to see at the next Inside Iron Studios. So thank you also. Did you get this one, Jam? Don't say it out loud. Just say if you got it. No? Okay.
No.
So
I think I know.
Man.
Is it Sauron? Is it Sauron?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Is it Sauron?
Okay.
Put in the comments, guys. Who do you think it was in this teaser? And I hope to see you all in the next edition. Thank you so much, Jam. Thank you, everyone, following us. Subscribe to our channel. Go to Jam's channel. If you don't already follow him, go to his channel, follow him, watch his videos. Go to our YouTube channel. If you guys didn't already, click in the subscribe and the like button. Thank you all. Hope to see you all. Bye-bye.